The Galactic Research Station Orion's Nest floated silently in the Black Sea of space. It was a massive structure, filled with beings from many different planets. Humans, aliens, and robots all worked together to study the mysteries of the galaxy. Ryan was a human technician. He had just arrived at Orion's Nest for his new job. This was his first time working on a space station outside of Earth's territory. As his small shuttle docked, he felt both excited and nervous. He was about to work with creatures he had never seen before. The airlock door hissed open. Ryan stepped out, carrying his small bag. The halls were bright, filled with strange lights and sounds. Different alien workers passed by him, some tall with 4 arms, others small and floating. Ryan kept walking, trying not to stare too much. After a few minutes, a short robot approached him. Its voice was smooth and polite. "Welcome, technician. Ryan, I am Unit 3Vi. I will take you to your quarters." "Thank you," Ryan said, following the robot as they moved through the station. Ryan couldn't help but feel amazed. The walls were smooth metal, glowing softly with blue lines. Doors opened automatically, and small floating drones cleaned the air. The smell was clean, almost like fresh air after rain. Finally, they reached his room. The door slid open. The room was simple but comfortable. A bed, a small desk, and a window looking out into the endless stars. "You will begin your duties tomorrow morning in Sector 4, the robot informed him. "If you need anything, simply call for assistance." "Got it," Ryan nodded. As the robot left, he sat on the bed and stared out the window, wondering what tomorrow would bring. The next morning, Ryan woke up early. He put on his uniform, checked his tools, and followed the map on his wrist device to Sector 4. This part of the station was responsible for equipment maintenance. Ryan's job was to check and repair the air filtration systems, power lines, and control panels. As he entered Sector 4, he saw workers moving around. Some were humans like him, but many were aliens. He tried to stay focused, not wanting to embarrass himself on his first day. Then, he saw her. An alien woman was cleaning one of the nearby storage rooms. She was tall and slim, with pale blue-purple skin that seemed to shine softly under the lights. Her hair was long, tied behind her head in a simple braid, and her small elf-like ears pointed gently upwards. She had a soft, natural beauty that made her look almost magical. She was wearing a teal uniform, the standard color for janitors on the station. As she worked, she bent over carefully to pick up some tools, her back facing Ryan directly. Ryan froze. His face turned red. He quickly looked away, pretending to check his wrist device. But inside, he felt uncomfortable. Why was she bending over right in front of him like that? The alien woman noticed him. She straightened up and smiled warmly. "Greetings, human," she said in perfect English, though her voice had a light musical accent. "You must be the new technician." "Yes, I'm Ryan," he replied, trying to sound normal. "I am Zelari," she introduced herself, bowing slightly. "I handle cleaning and minor maintenance here. If you need help finding tools or equipment, feel free to ask." "Thanks," Ryan said awkwardly. Zelari continued her work, bending down again to clean under one of the large machines. Once more her back was directly facing Ryan. He tried to stay focused on his work, but it was hard. His human mind couldn't stop feeling awkward about the situation. After a few minutes, Zelari stood up again. She looked at Ryan and tilted her head. "Is something wrong, human?" she asked kindly. Ryan hesitated. He didn't want to offend her. "Well, it's just, you keep bending over right in front of me. On my planet, that can feel a little awkward." Zelari's eyes widened in surprise. "Oh, I see. I apologize if I made you uncomfortable." "It's okay," Ryan quickly said, not wanting to create trouble. "I just didn't expect it." Zelari smiled softly. "Among my people, the Luthari, bending over while working near someone is a sign of respect. It shows that we are not hiding anything and that we trust the person nearby. It's considered polite." Ryan blinked. "Really?" "Yes," she nodded. "We believe showing our back while serving means, I trust you will not harm me while I work. It is very common in our culture." Ryan scratched the back of his head, feeling embarrassed for misunderstanding. "I didn't know. I'm still learning all these customs." "That is normal," Zelari said kindly. "Many species here have different ways. If you have questions, I can explain more." "I would like that." Ryan smiled. As the day went on, Ryan and Zelari kept crossing paths while working. Each time she followed her customs, bending over while cleaning. But now that Ryan understood, he no longer felt awkward. Instead, he found her behavior quite graceful. Later in the afternoon, they took a short break together. Zellery brought him a drink from the station's refreshment unit. Thank you, Ryan said. You are welcome, she replied. You humans are interesting, you blush easily. Ryan laughed a little. That's true, we're not used to your customs. Zellery smiled again. If you wish, I can teach you more about Luthari ways. It will help you adjust better here. Ryan nodded. I would appreciate that. I don't want to offend anyone by accident. You are kind, human. Not many take the time to understand others. The day ended, and Ryan returned to his quarters. He sat by the window again, watching the stars. He thought about Zellery. She was different from any being he had met. Her customs, her kindness, and her beauty made her stand out. Ryan realized that working on Orion's nest was not just a job. It was a chance to learn about strange new worlds, to meet people like Zellery, and to understand how big and amazing the galaxy truly was. Little did he know, this was only the beginning of an unexpected friendship that would soon face challenges. Neither of them could imagine. End of part 1. The next morning, Ryan woke up feeling more confident. His first day had gone well, and meeting Zellery had eased some of his nervousness. Still, he knew there was much more to learn. Life on Orion's nest was not like Earth. Every species had its own customs, and one simple mistake could cause serious problems. After breakfast, Ryan made his way to Sector 4 again. As he entered, he saw Zellery already working. She was wiping down a large control panel, humming softly to herself. When she noticed Ryan, she smiled warmly. Good morning, Ryan, she greeted him. Good morning, Zellery, he replied. Today Zellery wore a crimson uniform, another standard janitor color on the station. The color made her pale blue-purple skin look even softer under the station lights. Ryan tried not to stare too long, remembering her kind explanation from yesterday. As they worked side by side, Ryan asked, You said yesterday that bending over is a sign of trust. Are there more customs I should know? Zellery's eyes brightened. She seemed happy that Ryan wanted to learn. Of course, the Luthari have many traditions. For example, when we greet someone important, we show the side of our neck. It shows we trust them with our most vulnerable spot. That sounds dangerous, Ryan said, surprised. For us, it shows deep respect, she explained. Trust is the most valuable thing in our culture. Ryan nodded. It's very different from Earth. Zellery laughed softly. That is why it is good you ask. Many humans never do, they simply assume. As they continued working, Ryan's wrist device beeped. He checked the screen. There was a message from the station commander reminding all crew members about the upcoming inspection. Important officials from different species would arrive in a few days to check the station's systems. It's going to be a busy week, Ryan sighed. Yes, Zellery agreed. And when important visitors arrive, tensions can rise. As the day went on, Ryan noticed that not everyone on the station seemed friendly. In particular, a group of tall, muscular aliens called the Dravok kept watching him closely. The Dravok were part of the security team. Their thick skin and yellow eyes made them look intimidating. One of them, named Corvel, approached Ryan during a short break. Corvel towered over him, his voice low and firm. You are the new human, correct? Yes, Ryan answered carefully. Corvel narrowed his eyes. I see you speak often with the Luthari female. Her name is Zellery, Ryan said, trying to stay polite. She's been helping me learn the customs. Corvel crossed his arms. Be careful, human. Not all species approve of such friendships. Some might see it differently. Ryan didn't. Like Corvel's tone, I respect all my co-workers. Good, Corvel said, staring at him for a moment longer before walking away. Ryan felt uneasy. What did Corvel mean? Was it simply jealousy? Or was there something more serious happening behind the scenes? Later that evening, Ryan visited the cultural center of the station. It was a large, peaceful room filled with books, holograms, and information about many alien species. Few humans visited it, but Ryan wanted to understand. He searched for information on the Luthari people. A soft voice from behind surprised him. You came to learn. It was Zellery. She had noticed him and followed. Ryan smiled. Yes, I want to understand your world better. Zellery walked beside him, her voice calm and soft. Most humans do not care to learn. They often believe their way is the only way. Earth isn't perfect, Ryan admitted. That's why I want to learn. They sat at a table, and Zellery brought up a holographic display. Pictures of Luthari cities, traditions, and family life appeared. Our world is full of ceremonies. Trust, loyalty, and respect guide everything. Even the way we sit or stand means something. Ryan listened carefully. The more he learned, the more fascinated he became. The Luthari way of life was built on kindness and trust, but also on strict traditions. "Do you miss your home?" Ryan asked gently. Zalari paused for a moment. "Sometimes, but here I have a purpose. My family believes it is an honor to work on the station." Ryan smiled. "Well, I'm glad you're here." Zalari blushed lightly. "Thank you, human." As the days passed, Ryan and Zalari grew closer. They worked well together and shared many conversations. But the Dravik continued to watch them. Corvel was not the only one unhappy with their growing friendship. A few Dravik officers whispered among themselves. They believed that humans were gaining too much influence, and a human growing close to a Luthari woman could cause political troubles. One evening, Corvel and his group met in a private room. Their leader, Commander Vaughn, spoke quietly. "The human is getting too close to the Luthari girl. If their friendship grows, it may affect the Council's decisions. We must act." "But how, Commander?" one officer asked. "We watch, we wait, and when the right moment comes, we strike." The following day, Ryan was called to work on a malfunction in the air circulation system. Zalari offered to help him, as she knew the maintenance routes well. They entered a narrow tunnel under the main control center. Pipes and wires filled. The space air smelled slightly metallic. As they worked together, Zalari suddenly whispered, "Be careful." "Ryan, what do you mean?" "I feel watched." Ryan looked around but saw nothing. Still, he trusted Zalari's instincts. "Let's finish quickly," he said. As they fixed the final valve, Ryan's wrist device beeped again. It was an emergency message. A small explosion had damaged part of Sector 5. Security teams were investigating. Ryan and Zalari rushed out of the tunnel. The station was full of noise and flashing lights. "Another malfunction?" Ryan asked, worried. "I fear it may not be an accident," Zalari said softly. Ryan looked at her. "Do you think someone is trying to cause trouble?" Zalari nodded. "Yes, and we may be the next targets." That night, Ryan sat in his quarters, thinking about everything. Zalaris' warning, Corval's strange behavior, and now the explosion. Something dangerous was happening on Orion's nest. Suddenly, his communicator beeped again. It was a private message from Zalari. "Meet me at the cultural center. We must talk." Ryan quickly left his room and made his way through the quiet halls. When he arrived, Zalari was waiting. "I've discovered something," she whispered. "There is a group planning to sabotage the station. They want to create conflict between species." Ryan's heart raced. "How do you know?" "I heard them speaking. They plan to blame humans for the problems." Ryan clenched his fists. "We have to stop them," Zalari nodded. "But we must be careful. If they discover we know, we will both be in danger." Ryan looked into Zalari's eyes. She was risking everything to help him. In that moment, he realized how much trust she had placed in him. "I won't let anything happen to you," Ryan promised. Together they began to plan how to expose the truth. End of Part 2. The station remained tense after the explosion in Sector 5. Repairs were ongoing, but fear and suspicion spread among the crew. Many workers whispered in the halls, wondering who was responsible. Rumors began to grow, and soon, fingers pointed at the humans. Ryan walked carefully through the halls of Orion's nest, his mind heavy with worry. Zalari's warning echoed in his head. He knew someone was trying to create conflict and frame him, but he didn't know how deep the plot went. When he entered Sector 4, he saw Zalari waiting for him near the main control console. She looked calm, but her eyes were filled with concern. "Ryan," she whispered, "they are moving fast. The rumors are spreading." "I know," Ryan said. "Some of the crew are already looking at me like I've done something wrong." Zalari sighed. "The Dravik officers are behind this. They want to turn the council against humans. They must have powerful connections," Ryan said. "But we have to stop them before things get worse." "We will," Zalari said softly. "But we must stay cautious." Later that day, Ryan was summoned to the main command room. The commander of Orion's nest, Captain Doran, waited for him with a serious expression. Beside Doran stood Corval and several other Dravok officers. "Technician Ryan," Captain Doran said, "there have been serious accusations made against you." Ryan tried to stay calm. "Accusations? What kind of accusations?" Corval stepped forward, his deep voice filled with false confidence. "We have reason to believe you were involved in the explosion in Sector 5. We have evidence that suggests sabotage." "That's not true," Ryan said firmly. "I had nothing to do with it. The timing of your arrival and your quick closeness with certain individuals raise many questions," Corval continued, glancing towards Ella, who was not present. Captain Doran raised a hand to silence Corval. "We are not here to pass judgment yet. An investigation is ongoing. Until it is complete, you are restricted from certain areas of the station. Do you understand? Ryan clenched his fists but nodded. Yes, sir. Corval smirked as Ryan was dismissed. Ryan knew this was part of their plan to isolate him and make it harder for him to fight back. After the meeting, Ryan met Zalari in a quiet storage room where they wouldn't be seen. They've made their move, Ryan said. I heard, Zalari replied, her voice full of sadness. They're trying to make you look guilty. Ryan paced back and forth. They're trying to cut me off from the investigation. If I can't work in those areas, I can't collect any evidence. Zalari stepped closer. Then we'll find another way. I have access to cleaning routes that most officers don't monitor. We can still move around without being seen. Ryan looked at her with gratitude. You're risking everything to help me. I trust you, Zalari said simply. That is my custom. Her words touched Ryan deeply. Even in danger, Zalari followed her people's traditions of trust and loyalty. That night, they began their secret investigation. Zalari led Ryan through narrow maintenance shafts and unused service halls. The station was vast, and many sections were rarely visited. Here they could search without being noticed. They reached the damaged area in Sector 5. The destruction was still visible. Broken pipes, melted panels, and scorch marks covered the walls. It was clear that the explosion was caused by someone skilled in sabotage. Ryan examined the control panels. Whoever did this knew exactly where to strike. Zalari pointed to a hidden security camera nearby. This camera may have recorded something. Ryan accessed the camera's memory. The files were partially erased, but with his technical skills he managed to recover some data. A short video played on the screen. In the recording, shadows moved. In the darkness, Ryan couldn't see faces, but he noticed the tall shapes of the Dravak officers. One of them placed a small device on the main power junction, the bomb. This is the proof we need, Ryan whispered. Zalari nodded. But it's not enough. They will say it's fake or unclear. Ryan sighed. Then we need more evidence. We need a full recording of their meeting where they planned this. Zalari thought for a moment. They meet in the restricted security room that is heavily guarded. Ryan smiled slightly. Then we find a way in. The next day, Ryan acted as if nothing was wrong. He followed the restrictions and worked only in allowed areas. Meanwhile, Zalari gathered more information quietly. At night, they met again. Zalari had good news. I discovered that the security room will be empty tomorrow night for maintenance. The guards will leave for a short time. That's our chance, Ryan said. But it's risky, Zalari warned. If we are caught, we may be arrested. I know, Ryan replied. But if we don't stop them, the whole station could fall into conflict. Zalari took a deep breath. Then let's do it. The following night, they moved carefully through the station's dark halls. Zalari led Ryan through secret passages. She had learned as a janitor. Her knowledge of the station's structure was incredible. Finally, they reached the security room. The guards were gone. Just as Zalari had said, Ryan quickly hacked into the security system. He found recordings of the Dravak officers' secret meetings. In the video, Corval and Commander Vaughn clearly discussed the sabotage and their plan to blame humans. Ryan copied all the files onto a secure drive. We have everything we need, he said. But just as they were about to leave, they heard footsteps. The guards were returning early. Hi, Zalari whispered. They slipped into a small storage closet inside the room. The door closed silently. They held their breath as the guards entered and resumed their posts. For nearly an hour, they waited in silence. The space was small, and they stood very close. Ryan could hear Zalari's soft breathing and feel the warmth of her presence beside him. Even in this dangerous moment, Zalari whispered softly, "Among my people, standing this close means complete trust." Ryan smiled slightly. "I trust you too, Zalari." When the guards finally left again, Ryan and Zalari quietly escaped the security room and returned to their quarters. The next morning, Ryan contacted Captain Doran. "Sir, I have important evidence." Regarding the sabotage, Doran agreed to meet in private. Ryan and Zalari presented the recovered recordings. As Doran watched, his expression changed from surprise to anger. "This is serious," he said. "You've done well, both of you. I will call an emergency council meeting." Later that day, the council gathered in the main hall. Representatives from every species attended. The air was thick with tension. Captain Doran presented the evidence. The council watched the recordings. Seeing Corval and Vaughn openly plan the sabotage and the false accusations, the Dravak leaders tried to deny everything, but the proof was too strong. After a long debate, the council voted to arrest Corval, Vaughn, and their supporters. Peace was restored to Orion's Nest. and the plot to cause war between the species was stopped. As the meeting ended, Captain Doran approached Ryan and Zellari. You both showed great courage and loyalty. You saved not only the station but also the peace between our people. Thank you, sir, Ryan said. Zellari smiled gently. We only followed what we believe. Captain Doran looked at Zellari. Your customs of trust served you well. That night, Ryan and Zellari stood together by the station's large observation window, watching the stars. Thank you, Zellari, Ryan said softly. Without you, I couldn't have done any of this. You would have done the same for me. Zellari replied, that is what trust means. As the stars shined in the darkness, both of them knew their friendship had grown into something much stronger, built on respect, loyalty, and true trust. And this was only the beginning. End of part 3. Though peace had returned to Orion's nest, both Ryan and Zellari knew things were not fully over. The arrest of Corval and Commander Vaughn had stopped the first attack, but their plan had left deep wounds. Some crew members still whispered doubts about humans, and some Dravik officers quietly blamed Eleutheri for supporting Ryan one evening. As Ryan and Zellari walked together along the observation deck, they discussed the uneasy atmosphere. Even after everything was revealed, there's still tension, Ryan said softly, looking out at the stars. Yes, Zellari agreed. Some still hold old fears. Trust takes time to rebuild. Ryan glanced at her. You've taught me so much about trust, Zellari, but sometimes, it feels like others don't want peace. Zellari looked thoughtful. There are those who still believe that species should stay apart. They fear change. Ryan nodded. And they might try again. Zellari touched his arm gently. Then we must remain ready. A few days later, Captain Doran called Ryan to his office. Ryan, Doran began. I'm concerned. The investigation revealed something troubling. What is it, sir? Ryan asked. We discovered that Vaughn and Corval were not acting fully alone. They were receiving secret messages from somewhere outside the station. Ryan frowned. From where? We don't know yet, Doran said. But it may mean others are involved, possibly from outside the council. Ryan understood. This was bigger than just one plot. The station could still be in danger. We must find who's behind this, Ryan said firmly. Yes, Doran agreed. And I believe you and Zellari are best suited for this task. You've already shown great skill and courage. That evening, Ryan met with Zellari to share the news. It seems our mission isn't over yet, Ryan said. I suspected as much, Zellari replied. If there are outsiders involved, they may strike again. Captain Doran wants us to investigate quietly, Ryan added. Zellari smiled. Then let us begin. Over the next few days, Ryan and Zellari carefully studied the station's communication records. Zellari used her janitor access to enter areas where few others could go, while Ryan used his technician skills to check hidden data logs. Finally, they found something. There, Zellari pointed at a coded message hidden in a maintenance log. It's not standard station communication. Ryan examined the code. It's from a remote source, not part of the council network. Can you trace it? Zellari asked. Ryan worked quickly, fingers tapping the control panel. After several tense minutes, he found the origin. It's coming from a ship, Ryan said. A small freighter registered to a private merchant, but the ID doesn't match any known records. Zellari's eyes narrowed. A spy ship? Ryan nodded. And it's docking tonight. The freighter arrived silently, blending with the normal supply ships. The crew claimed they were delivering spare parts, but Ryan and Zellari suspected otherwise. They informed Captain Doran, who agreed to allow the freighter to dock while the investigation continued secretly. If we move too soon, we risk scaring them off, Doran explained. Gather more evidence first. Ryan and Zellari prepared carefully. They monitored the freighter's activities, watching who the crew contacted and where they moved. Late one night, they followed one of the freighter crew members through the storage levels. The man carried a small device and acted suspiciously. Planting something, Ryan whispered. They followed closely, keeping to the shadows. Suddenly the man stopped near a power control unit. He attached the device to the panel. Ryan recognized it immediately. It was a sabotage tool, designed to overload the system. They're planning another attack, Ryan whispered. Zellari nodded. And this time, it could destroy the whole sector. Before they could act, another figure stepped out from the shadows. It was one of the remaining Dravik officers who hadn't been arrested. We meet again, human, the Dravik said coldly. Ryan and Zellari froze. They had been discovered. You've been very troublesome, the Dravik continued. But now, you've walked into the trap. Ryan held his ground. You're risking innocent lives, the Dravik sneered. Sometimes sacrifice is necessary to protect our race's power. Suddenly, more footsteps echoed as several guards, loyal to the Dravak, arrived, surrounding Ryan and Zalari. But Ryan had planned for this possibility. He tapped a hidden button on his wrist device. Instantly, Captain Doran and the station's main security team, who had been tracking the situation secretly, stormed in. "Drop your weapons," Doran shouted. The rogue Dravak and the freighter crew were quickly surrounded and arrested. The sabotage device was deactivated safely. "You played your role well," Ryan Doran said after the arrests. "And you too, Zalari." Zalari bowed slightly. "We only did what was necessary, Captain." The next morning, the full council met again. The captured spies confessed under questioning, revealing they were hired by extremist groups who wanted to break the council apart and spark war between the species. With all the evidence presented, the council finally declared the matter fully resolved. "Let this be a reminder," Captain Doran said, "that trust between species is not weakness, but strength." As peace returned, Ryan and Zalari became well respected among the crew. Many who once whispered now greeted them with smiles and respect. One evening, as they walked together on the observation deck again, Ryan looked at Zalari. "We've been through a lot." "Yes," Zalari replied softly, "but we did it together." Ryan smiled. "I never imagined I would meet someone like you out here." Zalari looked into his eyes, her voice gentle. "Among my people, when two individuals survive danger together, it forms a strong bond of trust." Ryan nodded. "And I trust you completely." Zalari smiled, her cheeks flushing softly. "And I trust you, Ryan." That night, as the stars glittered outside the window, both of them felt something more than just friendship had grown between them, a quiet, respectful connection that crossed the boundaries of species and worlds. But neither of them spoke of it yet. There was no need for words. The trust they shared was already stronger than any spoken promise, and deep inside, both knew that this was only the beginning of something beautiful. End of Part 4. Several days had passed since Ryan and Zalari exposed the hidden plot against the station. Orion's nest had returned to its normal routine, but this time with stronger unity among the species. The council was stronger now, and the remaining conspirators had been removed. Still, Ryan could feel that something was different, not only on the station but inside his own heart. One morning, Captain Doran called Ryan and Zalari to his office. "You both have done great work," Doran said with a rare smile. "Your bravery protected not only this station but the peace of the council itself." "We only did what was right, Captain," Zalari replied softly. "But not everyone would take such risks," Doran said. "The council has agreed to officially recognize your efforts." He handed Ryan a small silver badge. "You are being promoted to senior technician. Your knowledge and service have proven your worth." Ryan accepted the badge, feeling proud. "Thank you, sir." Doran then turned to Zalari. "And you, will receive an honor rarely given to non-officers. The council recognizes your wisdom, bravery, and loyalty. You are now officially appointed as cultural advisor for the station." Zalari's eyes widened slightly. This was a great honor for someone of her position. She bowed deeply. "Thank you, Captain. I am honored." News of their recognition spread quickly through Orion's nest. Many who once looked at them with doubt now smiled and congratulated them. Humans, Lutheri, and even members of other species approached them with friendly words. But even as they accepted the praise, both Ryan and Zalari knew that something deeper had formed between them, something that was more than respect, more than simple friendship. That evening, after their shifts were complete, Ryan and Zalari met again at the observation deck. It had become their special place, where they could speak freely under the endless stars. The soft hum of the station filled the silence between them. Outside, thousands of stars glittered like tiny diamonds, reminding them how vast the universe was. "It feels strange," Ryan said quietly. "When I first arrived here, I never thought so much would happen." "Neither did I," Zalari agreed. "But the stars are full of surprises." Ryan glanced at her, smiling softly. "You taught me so much about your customs, about trust." Zalari returned his smile. "And you taught me that humans can be strong not because of force, but because of kindness and loyalty." Ryan looked out the window for a moment, gathering his thoughts. "When this all started, I was nervous even talking to you. I didn't understand your ways, and I was afraid of making mistakes." "And now?" Zalari asked softly. Ryan turned to face her fully. "Now, I feel like I've found someone who truly understands me." Zalari's cheeks flushed gently, her pale blue-purple skin glowing under the soft lights. "Among my people, there is a saying, 2 hearts that survive storms together become one shelter for each other." Ryan's heart beat a little faster. "That sounds beautiful. It is one of our oldest traditions," Zalari continued. When two individuals trust each other fully, as we do, it means their bond is strong enough to share life's path. For a moment, they stood quietly, both understanding what was being said without the need for many words. I trust you completely, Zalari, Ryan said sincerely. And I care about you deeply. And I care for you, Ryan, Zalari replied. Her voice soft but filled with emotion. They stood closer now, side by side, feeling the warmth of each other's presence. The following days were busy but peaceful. Ryan adjusted to his new role as senior technician, working on even more important systems across the station. Zalari, as cultural advisor, held meetings with members of different species, helping resolve small misunderstandings before they became larger problems. The station, once filled with tension, now seemed more united than ever. Crew members from different species began to follow Ryan and Zalari's example, choosing trust, understanding, and cooperation. One day, as Ryan walked through Sector 4, he saw several alien workers sharing lunch with a group of humans. Laughter filled the air, something that had been rare before. Zalari's work as cultural advisor was making a difference. She used her gentle way of teaching to explain traditions, helping everyone learn about each other's customs, preventing mistakes and offenses before they could happen. But even as peace returned, there were still moments when Ryan and Zalari found quiet time together. One evening, as they shared tea in the small garden chamber on the station, Zalari asked softly, "Do you ever miss Earth, Ryan?" "Sometimes," Ryan admitted, "but here, I've found something I never expected." "What is that?" she asked gently. "A home," Ryan replied, looking into her soft, glowing eyes, "and someone to share it with." Zalari smiled, her cheeks once again flushing. "Among my people, when someone says those words, it is often the beginning of a life bond." Ryan smiled back. "Then maybe your people and mine are not so different after all." She reached out and placed her hand gently over his. "Maybe not." The station celebrated its anniversary weeks later. A grand ceremony was held in the central hall. Crew members from all species gathered together, sharing food, music, and stories. Captain Doran stood before the crowd and spoke. "This station has faced danger, but thanks to the courage of individuals like Technician Ryan and Cultural Advisor Zalari, we stand stronger than before." The crowd applauded loudly. Many looked at Ryan and Zalari with respect and admiration. After the ceremony, as they stood together watching the lights of the celebration, Zalari whispered, "Do you see, Ryan? Trust can change everything." Ryan nodded yes, and you showed me that. As the music played softly behind them, Ryan gently held Zalari's hand. There was no need for more words between them. Their journey had begun with misunderstanding, grown into trust, and now stood on the edge of something beautiful. That night, as they stood beneath the stars, they both knew that whatever the future held, they would face it together. Their story was not only about saving Orion's nest, but about two souls from different worlds who found understanding, respect, and something that might one day grow into love. And in a galaxy filled with strange customs, dangerous plots, and countless species, that trust between one human and one Lutheri stood as a quiet example of hope for all. End of Part 5.